not lightly. Go live.
Yeah, yeah. It's going live already on Zoom, and we are on Facebook. Welcome back to the Change Physician. I am Melissa Katie, the Challenge Doctor, with my awesome co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. And if you're seeing this on the Challenge Doctor, it's just being cross-posted over from the Change Physician Facebook page. Feel free to go over to the Change Physician Facebook page and hit like. Feel free to join us on this live recording, or you can go listen to some of our recorded podcasts on the Change Physician podcast on all the major venues, including iTunes. And today is a very bizarre day because we normally do Saturday salutations. We used to do Monday motivations, and we did Friday faves, and now we're doing Saturday salutations. But you know what? We're two human beings that sometimes we have to change up our plans. So today is Sunday surprise. So this is just part of our Facebook Live recording that we do that is for sharing what's happened in the podcast, what's coming up, and some of our favorite things from the last week. So how are you, Kevin? Are you got all
Doing
your
okay.
social media stuff?
No, because I'm trying to, normally I can just click on the live thing and then I can do, I don't know, it says share to your friends and share to this. And now it won't, I don't know what it's doing. Anyway, it's just being a pain in the butt. So I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, why don't I let the audience know what has happened in the last two episodes?
You tell them. You tell them because they need to know.
That's right. Well, on the 8th of August, we had a deep dive into the chat we had with Acacia and Billy Caterly, who had been retired for over 30 years, since their late 30s. And
38.
38 years old. And literally, they're amazing. They have figured out a way to live off of their retirement without, I mean, of course, there was a few things that were challenging at first, but they have been moving strong along this whole path of a retirement life, and very fascinating, inspirational, and a lot to learn, but even more about, just even the power of compounding interest was one of the takeaways. But we dive a little deeper in that and what we loved about their original episode in episode 117. That was the previous episode, but our deep dive was on the 8th. And what we had to follow that is this was kind of shifting into a little bit of mindset. There's so much about the Change Physician that's about creating the mindset skills and practices to live a more fulfilling life. And so it's not just about money, it's also about how you feed your body and your mind. And so that was the focus of our most recent episode. And what's coming out, I guess we never do this on Sundays, but what will be coming out today is the
later today,
right, is this two-way door of decision making, which sometimes we have this one-way door mentality, but there's really, I don't want to dive into it too much. I think you should listen to the episode, but there's many times it's really a two-way door, and sometimes we put ourselves in a corner when we don't have to. So any comments about that before I mention the following one?
No. I'm not going to comment on it, so I just will not.
Okay. Well, then the other one that will be released later this week is called, Are You Sacrificing Your Health for Retirement? So many people almost kill themselves to retire. And we thought it'd be important to talk about, the importance of really taking care of your health before you retire, if you plan on retiring, which many people try to at some point. So we go on, we touch on quite a few things regarding that, some things you may not think about. And any comments about that, Kevin?
Well, we have an episode there, but I think you can almost do an entire podcast, like literally devote a podcast simply to health, planning your health for retirement kind of thing, because it's so important and it is so under underappreciation is not the right word, because I think people are aware that it's important, but they don't actually engage. So maybe we should call it under engagement. I'm really fascinated between the interplay between beliefs and behavior, and what people actually say when it comes to their beliefs and as compared to how they actually behave. And if you really want to know what someone's true beliefs are, don't listen to what they say, but look at how they act. Like, without a doubt, that's like the best modus operandi to determine what their character is to actually look at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to health and retirement, that is like the most profound thing is, do you actually engage in thinking actively about this vehicle, this body and brain, and are you investing in it for the future?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's really, we could probably talk about that forever, and I would never get bored with it, because it is such an important topic, and it's one that we tend to not think about, or people delay. Well, when I am retired, I'll do this, or when I'm, in 10 years, tomorrow I'm going to do. Well, exercise is like a hard thing, right? Because exercise always sounds good when you're going to bed. Like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'm going to exercise. Tomorrow I'm going to make that change. But when they actually comes, we tend to not engage in it as much. And so such an important habit, because so many people focus so much on everything outside of retirement. In fact, the Merrill Lynch article that we talk about it just makes me laugh, because they're like, this is your top retirement fear, is being unhealthy, so invest more. And I'm like, well, why don't you actually instead engage in invest in healthy behaviors where it pays you this dividend now, rather than having to wait way down the line for a stent or or a bypass or whatever other ridiculous thing that we're going to do. So
Yeah.
important episode.
Yeah. Many times people dismiss the value of behaviors when there's nothing acutely giving them problems in their health.
Well, and behaviors in general from health, and then behaviors between what they think and believe. Because what's on my mind right now actually is quite a bit about people's, what they say they believe, and then what they actually truly believe by their behavior.
That's good.
If you say you're healthy, oh, I believe in health, and yet you live an unhealthy lifestyle. No, actually, you don't believe in health. You actually, what you truly believe at your core is whatever it is that's keeping you from doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that comment is important even in relationships. People are what they do, not what they say.
Yes. Well, absolutely.
That I learned the hard way.
Well, abusive relationships. So how about, oh, I'm changing. Well, don't tell me you're going to change. Change. Don't tell me you're not going to do it. Do it. When it comes to what people say and do in the world that we live in now, don't tell me you're a good person. Act like a good person.
That's right. Don't
tell me that you care about society, and then don't wear a mask when you need to indoors. These are not things like that. Don't pretend that you care about others if you do actions that don't demonstrate that you don't care about others. So, I can get really fired up on it, but
trust me. Yeah, we need a better sense of community in this world we live in, unfortunately. But
well, we need more. People need more awareness, is what they need, that between what they say and what they do, and be willing to let's say live with the cognitive dissonance that may happen. That occurs when you actually start becoming aware of what you say, and then actually see what you do.
And look up that word if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's a big one. It's super important.
It's a super important one. And people don't realize the tension, anxiety, what that is. They don't even have a word many times for it, because they just immediately want to avoid it. So.
Well, and to also recognize then, when it comes to that, when it comes to belief and behavior, what you do will trump what you say when it comes to your beliefs. In fact, you will revise your beliefs to support your behavior.
Yes, so true.
Rather than revise your behavior to support what you say that you believe. And that's not me just talking. That's actually science and data, in a fascinating book. If you ever really, I've talked about it before. Mistakes Were Made, but Not by Me, by Aronson and whoever. It's such a good book. Oh my God, It's such a good book. And that was like mind blowing for me. It's like, people will literally, and you can see it, like once you become aware of it, you see it everywhere. People will align their beliefs with how they behave. They will preferentially seek evidence to support what they're doing, rather than actually look at disconfirming evidence and then start revising their beliefs and behaviors around it. So anyway, fascinating stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that can apply to so many things. Well, we always like to finish off on a fun note of what our favorite thing is over the last week. Do you have one, or are we fishing for one?
Fishing for one.
gotta have to reflect and have gratitude on something.
Now
You
I'm
want to
gonna,
go first, or do you
yeah, I'll
want
go
me
first. Because this is one that, and almost is a given, but given the tiny habits what we talked about a little while ago, it's important. Is my family is without my favorite thing. My family's awesome. I just absolutely adore them. My daughter is in Nevada with my mother right now, and she was super excited. I know they're having a good time, and I'm really excited to hear what they're doing. You know, my son has been running around doing stuff, so my wife is awesome. It's like my family is just my favorite thing. They're always my favorite thing, but I'm going to specifically call them out as my favorite thing today.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I feel like I had something in my mind already, but I have to say I love my family. I don't have, children. I have fur babies.
For babies.
My loving husband and my loving parents up in here in Texas as well. But the thing I was going to mention was I have a little fig tree, and I had my first real fig this past week.
Is it a mission or a golden?
I don't know. I
What
just
color
got
is
it. Ooh. Like the inside or the skin on the outside?
This skin.
More of a reddish.
So the dark kind of dark purpley ones, those are usually missions, and then there's the goldens are more green and green yellow. They're both excellent, but
probably green yellow-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not an expert in fig, but I knew I loved fig Newton. It's a nice processed version of figs when I was growing up. And I was like, so I opened it up and ate the inside first, and then I had another one. I was like, I'm just gonna bite through the skin, and that was good. Like, I never done that
eat the
before.
Skin.
Well, I just, I was just timid. I hadn't ever done it before.
And you're like, it doesn't have the coating.
I know, but I wasn't sure how the skin was going to be like. And it was like, oh, that's nothing. It was good. Yeah. They're tasty little treats out of the garden. It's nice.
They're one of nature's candies. I think I can always get confused whether it's figs versus raisins versus dates, because everything's apparently nature's candy, but it is definitely a nature's candy. I love figs. Yeah, that was going to go my other thing, because I've used that before on a favorites is fruit, and the fruit season in Oregon is just like, oh my God. I've probably eaten 10 pounds of fruit over the last week and a half. Seriously, I'm not like we get probably 15 pounds at least, because we have fruit basket, or we have a fruit basket that comes every week.
Wow.
And you have to eat it, because
you don't want it to go bad.
Because this is not like your crappy supermarket stuff where they have to pick it unripe and it ripens in the cold tray or whatever. This stuff is like ripe, and these peaches, I'll eat like 5 of them. Like, you just put them in a bowl.
Do you freeze some things like blueberries and stuff?
We just froze about 15 pounds of blueberries because the season's coming to an end. So we just did that. Definitely peaches are a little bit touchier because they turn brown. You have to do all sorts of stuff. But the other thing is that what my wife has been doing is anything that, like the blackberries and the blueberries earlier, and when we couldn't eat them all, she started making jam. Holy crap, it's so good. Like it's so
real deal.
Good. It's super, super good. Like we've gone through like 3 jars. Like it's insane. And we probably have a whole bunch more. But anyway, it's it's been fun. It's not good, all these simple sugars and fructose. You can see why bears get fat in the summer, but man, so good. So
I want to learn how to do that one of these days. I've got my blackberry plant starting to take off, and my blueberry is growing a little bit. I think I need to tailor things a little bit, but I'm just playing around with it. Got a blackberry and blueberry, and we'll see how it does in this kind of weather.
It doesn't, well, speaking as the person who's not doing it, right? So I'm just observing. It looks not that hard. Like, it's literally you throw the fruit into something like a pot or whatever, and then there's sugar. Not a whole lot more than that, maybe some lemon juice or something. And then what she's been doing is putting a little bit of alcohol, like bourbon. We've done some bitters, some rye. I don't know if she's done rye. You kind of like think about, well, what would go with this fruit? Put that in there. And then they cook it. And then it's the canning thing that's a little weird, because you have to do this boily thing. You put it in there and do this weird thing, and somehow it seals it. I don't know how. It's magic, really. But the process itself, I think literally if you mean, if you can heat a pot of water, you can probably make jam. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there. I'm sure I can learn from the experts.
That's yeah. What would we do without YouTube?
I know. You got to find some qualified people to teach you that. There's all kinds of people that are very novice that shouldn't be, but that's part of the process.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, you want to take us out for Sunday surprise?
Sure. For Sunday surprise, hopefully this was a little bit of a surprise for you all, because if we do it next week, it won't be a surprise, but it won't be. So, but this is the Change Physician Podcast. I'm Dr. Kevin Cuccaro with my Amazeballs co-host, Dr. Melissa Cady, one of my other favorite people that I get to see every week practically.
Oh, ditto.
Yeah. If you're interested in the community, you can join at thechangephysician.com. Obviously, we're doing these things live, usually on Saturdays, unless we're doing a surprise. You can check us out on YouTube or any of your major podcast networks. And until next time, stay well.
Take care.